Hi, I'm Doug Kreis with Aylstock, Witkin, Kreis Overholtz. Thanks for taking time out of your day to listen to this post. Wanted to talk briefly about insurance. Unfortunately, in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian. Hurricane Ian, as you know, was a devastating storm, Category 4, winds upwards of 150 plus miles per hour, but unfortunately it carried with it storm surge that was significant, causing flooding really from Tampa all the way down to Naples, in particular from Fort Myers to Naples. We're starting to receive calls from property owners down in South Florida asking questions. Of course, it's early in the claims process. We're asking them to document their losses, itemize everything, take pictures, do the initial due diligence so that when they're making their insurance claim, they have it adequately documented. So even though that's where they are, some of the questions that I wanted to talk about they're asking is, is my policy adequate? Do I have coverage for this particular loss? And there are really two things that are striking. One is when we're looking at policies, the amount of coverage on certain line items is simply not adequate enough. What I do when I buy property is I'll talk to a number of different insurance companies, I'll get different quotes, I'll look at different policies, and I'll look at those various line items in terms of how much coverage I'm getting and how much premium I'm paying. Sometimes it's important to pay a little bit more in premium to get better coverage or get coverage from an insurance carrier that has a good track record, that has some history, as opposed to a new upstart insurance company that doesn't have that same history. The other thing is, in all of these storms, there's a flood and a windstorm tension. So you've got a flood policy that's in place, hopefully. You have a wind policy that's in place, hopefully. And the insurance company that the carrier for the wind policy is going to argue it was flood. Flood's going to argue it's wind, and there's this tension. That's where we come in as attorneys when there's a denial of coverage, and that's the tension that we see between insurance companies and where we prosecute cases mostly. So unfortunately, we received some policies in from people asking questions that are wind policies. We ask them, hey, do you have a flood policy? And they say, I think so. I sent you everything I have, and we find out that they don't have a flood policy. A person I talked to this morning was actually from Fort Myers that doesn't have flood and was right on the coastline. So those are the two things I wanted to impart on you is, again, look at your line items, make sure that you have adequate coverage, do your due diligence. It's gonna pay itself in spades. Maybe paying an extra premium, getting a good insurance carrier is important, but also make sure that you have the right types of insurance and don't go uninsured or don't go underinsured. Because in Florida, with the hurricane season that we're in right now, that we expect to see in years to come, it's really not a matter of whether, it's a matter of when. And so hopefully this information has been helpful to you. We'll talk to you again in the future.